Hi, everybody. It is meteorologist Matt Wentz here for Region Weather. It's Friday evening now. Again, we're going live on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page here at 9 o'clock Central Time. So if you're watching this video, it's going to be posted to both. But if you're watching this video anytime after that, keep in mind some of the information be a little bit outdated. Because obviously this is Region Weather Live. We like to do things live around here so we have the most up-to-date information. So we've got a lot going on. We've got a very active severe weather outbreak ongoing across a good portion of the central U.S. down towards the Tennessee Valley. Some of these storms have produced some big tornadoes, including a couple tornado emergencies that have been issued over the course of the evening as well. For us, we've got focus on storms that are moving in from Illinois as expected, everything kind of going as expected locally in terms of that first band of rain that we had move through, and then the secondary line that's coming out of Illinois YouTube channel and our Facebook page. We'll run our intro video and then we'll get down to the radars and we'll talk about what we can expect the rest of the night. All right, welcome in, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Friday evening. It is feeling very spring-like outside. We certainly have that warmer atmosphere. It's as hard has been kicking, and we've got temps that have bumped up significantly. Let's talk on weather-wise. This is a big picture look at what our system is doing right now. You can see the area of low pressure really cranking up right over areas of Iowa now. On the northern side, this is all snow stretching up into areas of northern Wisconsin, Minneapolis back down towards Iowa, northern Michigan getting some heavier snow right now as well. And you can see the line of storms, several lines of storms that have developed out ahead of that main front. And all of these lines have produced, as we expected, supercellular thunderstorms, basically thunderstorms that are rotating. And a lot of these have put down tornadoes, including several on the ground right now. So the pattern the rest of the evening, I'm going to give you kind of big picture look, and then we're going to get down into the nitty gritty details in terms of what we can expect here in the region. But you can see this line that's moving through Illinois. That's what we're going to keep our eye on here over the next probably 2.5 hours or so. Once that moves through the region, we're severe weather clear. So once we get that through, we'll be okay. You can see the stuff down towards Arkansas. There's a secondary line getting ready to hit St. Louis right now. That will likely form in with the line that we have right now. So we'll likely be dealing with one line over the next hour that stretches through Illinois and then back down towards Missouri and northern Arkansas. So in terms of dynamics, let's get in here and look at kind of what we're dealing with in terms of temperatures and all that good stuff, because temps have taken a bump. We've really warmed things up quite a bit as expected, and I think our atmosphere is primed right now to produce some pretty decent severe weather, at least off towards our west. Newton and Jasper County, you're the only counties under that tornado watch right now. So outside of that, it doesn't mean our tornado risk isn't there for our northern counties, but again, the dynamics are a little bit better there. So as we zoom on in, I'm throwing all these little plots on here, these little numbers. I know it's tough to see on there, but the top number, if you can see it, if you have a big enough computer screen or iPhone or whatever you're dealing with, that's our temperature, and the bottom number is our dew point. So we've had some fog, right? Because the temperature and the dew point are equal across a lot of the area. And you notice temperatures are still in the 50s. We're not in the 60s yet. We're 55 right now in Rensselaer. It's 54 in Valpo. Michigan City sitting at 52 degrees. But you go back down towards the west, we're in the 60s across areas of central Illinois. You get downstate, Indianapolis, you're up near 60 degrees. And then you head further south down towards Memphis, for example. Memphis is sitting at 78 degrees right now. It is just a summer-like pattern. So we've got temperatures that are still in the 50s. Temperatures don't really matter in terms of the severe weather. It's more so the dew point. The dew point's that number below it, and these are the live station plots over the last 15 minutes. We've got dew points that are still in the low to mid 50s. So it's more humid outside, but we don't have, if you joined me earlier for that update, I was saying the dew points are crucial in terms of getting them up to 60 degrees. It's really hard to have severe weather if your dew point's not above 60. And we're not above 60 yet. We've got a southeast wind. The moisture's trying to get here, but I think this rain is going to beat it out. So in terms of severe weather threat, I know we've got the tornado watch. We've got a couple tornado warnings off towards our west, which we'll get to. But I don't see the dynamics over the region like we do down to the south. So that's going to be our saving grace. The thing that's fighting against that is that this is a very strong area of low pressure moving in. So a lot of times it's not just here at the surface that matters. It happens to be at the mid levels and the upper levels of the atmosphere, the different layers. It's stacked like a pancake, right? Or a stack of pancakes. And, there's a lot of dynamics at play in the different levels of the atmosphere that can overcome that. So just my gut thinking in terms of how this goes out, we've got rain moving in now. I think we get some heavier downpours. I think we'll see some strong winds as these move through. But that tornado threat, it exists right now across Illinois, but as we get into northwest Indiana, I think we start to lose that tornado threat, hopefully. And I hope I'm right on this because these storms are still nasty either way you put them. And it's not just us, it's across pretty much the entire Tennessee Valley right now. At one point, there were 18 tornado warnings at once, and that was the case. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to switch screens here because I think I'm done showing this part. I want to kind of dive into the radar details. So just bear with me a second here. We're going to go back to full screen so you can see that. We're going to remove this. And I'm going to share our radar scope screen that I've got here. This should work swimmingly. Nice. Okay, we've got it now. All right, so I want to go into a little bit more high-res radar stuff here. So that way we can kind of track these storms in. This is where we stand right now. Again, tornado watch has been issued for areas of Newton and Jasper County. There are tornado watches that exist across all of central Illinois and pretty much every state south of here. I think at one point there were 10 or 11 states that were covered under tornado watches. And at one point, as I mentioned, we had 18 tornado warnings. Keep in mind the dynamics down to the south are much greater than what we have locally, right? They're in the upper 70s. They've got dew points. It just feels summer-like as you get down towards Tennessee. Even Missouri feels summer-like. That's the warm air mass we're tapping into. The big question is, does it get it this far north? So in terms of rain right now, we had a couple rounds. We did have some thunder earlier. We've kind of dried out over the last couple hours. And now we've got this big batch of rain that's moving in now. So we're starting to get raindrops, areas of Lake County, Maryville getting some heavier downpours now, Griffin seeing some downpours. That's heading into Cedar Lake, Lowell seeing some heavier downpours. But you can see the bulk of this. This is a big rainmaker coming in, right? We're going to have probably an hour worth of heavy rain. Embedded within this, we've had a couple areas of rotation, including a confirmed tornado that was in areas of central Illinois, just west of Bloomington. We've lost the tornado warnings on that since I started this broadcast, and that's great news. And I think that's in part to the dynamics that we have locally aren't supportive of tornadic thunderstorms as much as they are back towards the west and down to the south. So hopefully we can get this through without a warning. Hopefully we can just get some heavier rain. There will be some lightning with it for everybody. That's a guarantee. But I don't want any of these squirrely storms to spin up a quick tornado given the amount of shear we have. And that's going to be what I'm watching for here throughout the rest of the evening. So you can see as we zoom on out, I just want to show you all the tornado warnings. This is a lower number over what we had earlier. You can see there's some just east of St. Louis. There was a confirmed tornado with that. There's another one west of St. Louis. They just had tornado warnings. They've got another one. And then these storms down in northeastern Arkansas are packing a punch. This one heading into southern Kentucky, which will eventually be heading towards the Bowling Green area, that had a tornado emergency on it. So they had a huge debris ball with that. And some of these tornadoes in areas of Arkansas, there were two at once. There's a picture going around on Twitter of dual tornadoes that they had down there. So for us, are we going to see that? No, we don't have the setup for strong tornadoes. We do have a setup for weak spin-up tornadoes that can come up pretty quickly and they go away pretty quickly. And I think that's what we were dealing with in Illinois over the last half hour. But again, we have lost the tornado warnings out of Illinois. This stuff right in here is what we're going to be dealing with here in the region. And once this moves through, I don't think we're completely done, but I think that's going to kind of tamper the atmosphere a little bit, at least over us. And we'll have to watch on the backside. The frontal boundary is still back in here, so we could spark another little line of storms on the backside of that. But overall, in terms of severe threat, I think if we get this through here without severe weather, we'll be okay this evening. And that's my plan, and that's my wish through this. You can see some of the lightning strikes coming with this as well. You notice how they all kind of flicker at once. That's a lot of cloud to cloud lightning. So there's not a lot of cloud to ground lightning. It's not the big strikes that are really, really loud. These are the strikes that kind of go from cloud to cloud, and you'll get that long rumble that goes on. So I know we have a lot of pet lovers, and the dogs are, scared of the thunder and stuff like that. Some of these will be loud, but it doesn't look to be the real active thunderstorms that we get in the summertime, where you get the lightning strike and it's like right next to your house and it's super loud. I don't see that happening, but I do think we'll get some louder rumbles with this. A lot of it has to do with temperature in the atmosphere as well. That's kind of interesting. But what I think we can all expect here from west to east is going to be some heavier rain with occasional lightning. And what we'll have to keep an eye on are these little pockets in here for potentially some quick spin ups, because we've had that in the past. So the other thing I want to look at here is our velocity. So I want to take a look at some of the wind within the thunderstorm, right? We can always look inside the storm and see what storms are producing rotation, what storms are producing hail. We can see where the strong winds are. And you can see the signature we're getting here. All these blues that you see on here are winds in excess of, you can see the scale down there. I mean, we're talking 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds. But keep in mind, that's not at the surface. That's just up into the atmosphere a little bit. So the radar is sitting right here. So this is getting up into the clouds a little bit, and that's tapping into some of our jet stream energy. So that's not surprising that we have those strong winds up there because we have that jet stream overhead. So all the radar indications are going to show that we have strong winds in the storms. The thing that the Weather Service is watching, and what I'll be watching as this moves through, are these little pockets where you see these little areas of green and the blue mixing together. If we were to switch radar sites, it would be the typical red and green that you see depending on the radar. Again, we're going to watch for those little pockets that produce the quick spin ups. And I'm hoping we don't have any. I really do. And again, with the dynamics that we have locally, I think that's a good possibility that we get out of this without a tornado warning. Hopefully we can get out of this without a severe thunderstorm warning, and we just have a lot of rain and wind around. All right, so that's kind of how our evening's shaping up. As always here on our Region Weather Lives, love questions. So go ahead and ask your questions away. Would be happy to answer those. And then we'll get you on your merry way. Again, I don't want to interrupt your evening any more than you do sitting watching a video about weather, if there is no weather. I know typical media channels and stuff like that will want to get your attention and keep you as long as possible so they can show your commercials. I don't have any commercials to show you, so we'll get you all on your way here. But heavy rain is coming in. When you look at a radar like this is called reflectivity, and the bright colors don't mean severe weather at all. They just mean how heavy the rain is. We have to kind of dive in to look and see if there is severe weather in that. But basically what you're staring at here with some of the oranges and yellows, that's just real heavy rain. It's going to be a real soaking downpour. We're going to have gusty winds with this, but nothing severe as of right now. And we're starting to get the rain into Lake County now. So seeing some heavier rain in the I-65 corridor, and that's going to be getting into Porter County. You notice Newton County is getting some heavier rain now as well. But nothing severe with this, just some thunder, lightning, some gusty winds, and some very heavy rain. So there we go. All right, let's get to your questions now. I'm going to start with Allison because that's first on my screen. When will this storm be over in Porter County? That's a good question, Allison. So in terms of timing this out, we've got, these are screaming in here. They're moving real quickly. All these are. And they're moving about 60 miles per hour. We'll go 55. The line is about, let's see, it's about 90, almost 100 miles wide. So if it's moving at 60 miles per hour, this is like a math equation, right? If it's moving at 60 miles per hour, it's about 100 mile wide. So it'll take probably an hour and 15 minutes or so to get this line through here. So doing the math on that, It's already in here. So probably, I would say another 2 hours and we'll be in the clear. So that would put us at 11:15 p.m. Central Time. And we should get these storms out of here. And, just to answer your question, Allison, in deeper format, I really think we can get this out of here without even a severe thunderstorm warning. Hopefully, it's these little pockets in here that you tend to get the winds kind of mixing with height, and they'll produce these quick spin up tornadoes. That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen, but that is the risk the rest of the evening. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Debbie says, if it was colder and this was snow, how much snow would we have gotten? Any thunder snow? Debbie, that's a great question. That's a very typical question as well, in terms of, hey, this is really heavy rain. What if it were snow? Keep in mind, when it's colder, cold air doesn't hold as much moisture. So there's no way we could have this much moisture with colder temperatures. There would be less moisture involved. So typically what you do is, 1 inch of snow is equivalent, or 1 inch of rain is equivalent to 10 inches of snow. It's usually a 1-to-10 ratio. So if we get an inch of rain out of this would be equivalent to 10 inches of snow. But again, it's never equivalent in that way. If this system were further south, we would probably get what Minnesota's getting. It's a general 3 to 6, but some areas are seeing up to a foot up there. So this could be a good snowfall, but it would never look like this. The presentation wouldn't look like this on radar. The snowy part of systems is always much different, but great question. Erica asks, how's it looking for Bloomington, Indiana? Much better for Bloomington, Erica, because the dynamics get even lesser as you get out towards the east. So there's still severe threat. I think it's mainly damaging winds for the Bloomington area. These spin-up tornadoes can't be ruled out, and they can't be ruled out all the way through Ohio tonight. But I think they'll be few and far between. That's the good news. So I think it's more of a damaging wind threat. And the reason why we have a damaging wind threat tonight is because storms build up into the atmosphere, right? We have a powerhouse jet stream above us. The jet stream always isn't above us. It flows all over the North America, right? There's 2 jet streams, but this one, for lack of a better explanation, is above us right now. We've got wind 100 to 140 miles per hour up above us right now, up in the clouds. That's why the clouds are moving so fast. And so as these storms build up into that, storms have updrafts and downdrafts, right? You've heard that. That's pilots deal with it all the time. And so as a storm on an updraft builds into that jet stream, the downdraft can take the jet stream wind that's going through the top of the storm, and the downdraft can bring some of that down to the surface. And so you get these pockets, or the potential for these pockets of strong winds that come down. It's not always 100 to 140 miles per hour, right? It subsides a little bit, but that's the danger in these storms, especially for the Bloomington area as well, is that we could see some pockets of strong winds if these storms tap into that, right? So that's kind of how that works. Aaron, thank you for your comment. Absolutely. Oh, happy to do that. Rob is on our YouTube channel saying, any good chance for snow in the next week? Rob, not really. There's not much on the backside of this, and we'll spend time on Sunday. What we'll do is we'll take kind of a longer look when the weather's a little bit calmer around here. But there are still signs that right around Christmas, right before Christmas, we get a good dose of cold air coming in. But the models have even delayed that a little bit. This is ending up being a very mild December. And what the models were saying could have been a really cold December across the eastern half of the country. So I'm going to hold my breath on that. I'm not going to call it yet, but there are signs that we turn much colder later in December. Kind of like what we did last year. We had a couple hits early on, but then, the cold air tends to rush in late month and then January. It seems the real punch of winter hasn't been hitting until late December and then into January last couple of years. So kind of interesting. Drew says meet and greet coffee day with me. I'm not that interesting, Drew. I would love to get coffee with everybody, though. We'll have to do that sometime for sure. Leanne, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the whole deal, guys. I know we get a lot of anxiety from these storms, and if you're watching any media on TV right now, whether it be Weather Channel or a local channel, whatever it is, keep in mind they're all about hype. They want you to watch as long as possible because they have commercials to run and they get money from those commercials based on how many viewers they have. So just keep that in the back of your head. They're doing a great service. I get it, right? And they're great meteorologists. But just keep in mind kind of the the reason sometimes behind some of the hype, and that causes some anxiety, right? Because we're all like, oh, this is terrible and it's scary. It doesn't have to be, right? Weather can be not scary, and it can be fascinating and interesting. And we need to take it for granted that we have calm weather most of the time. And we also need to take storms seriously when they need to be taken seriously. So we're going to keep a close eye on these. But as of right now, there's nothing severe coming in. It's just some heavier rain right now. Kenny asking, what's Crown Point looking like? Crown Point getting some heavy rain right now, Kenny. That rain's going to get heavier over the next 15 minutes, and then you'll probably have a good solid, probably 35, 40 minutes of heavy rain. You'll get occasional lightning. There'll be some stronger winds, and this goes true for everybody. And then hopefully we can get this out of here without anything weird, for sure. Shannon, you're welcome. Stephanie asks, what part of the storm is causing Jasper and Newton County have a tornado watch? So, Stephanie, the reason why Newton and Jasper County have the tornado watch, it's the northern extent of the tornado watch that goes all the way down to the south. So the Storm Prediction Center puts out the tornado watches. The warnings are put out by your local weather service offices. So the Storm Prediction Center out in Norman, Oklahoma issues the tornado watches, and they issue it based on basically what's going on in the atmosphere. Where do they see the threat? And so the dynamics to produce tornadoes, they're cutting it off in Newton and Jasper County. But what we need to know is that Mother Nature doesn't have county borders, right? And so that's kind of the northern extent of it. Just to kind of draw it on map form here, the warmer, more humid air is down here right now. It's actually a little bit further south than that. So that's why this area is under tornado watch, because they have better atmospheric dynamics right now. We're cooler. We've got fog off towards the north. It's not a huge severe weather setup for our northern tier counties. It's just not. The big question has been, does that get here? Because it's being transported on very strong winds in this direction. So the dynamics are trying to get in here, the humidity, the warmth, but it's just not all the way here yet. And so that's why Newton and Jasper County kind of, just to be safe, I think they issued the tornado watch, but it doesn't mean we're going to have a tornado warning in those counties. They just stand a slightly better chance than Lake Newton or Lake Porter and LaPorte counties. So there you go. Mike says, it always, if it was snow, gets old hearing that. Years ago, it wasn't like this. The only season we have anymore is summer. Yeah, we'll see in January how that goes, Mike. But yeah, we have had a later start for sure to the winter season. We really have. Ann's okay with a mild winter. I think most people are okay with mild winter. And Mike, I totally agree with your point. Yeah, we've had a lot of Novembers in the past where we've had heavy snow cover. I remember growing up, and we'd have Thanksgivings where it was like, how much snow will we have at Thanksgiving? And now we don't. You're right. We've had a later start to winter over the last 5 or 6 years. If you go back last 10, 15 years, we've had less harsh winters, right? But again, keep in mind, everything is cyclical, right? Everything's on a cycle. I could take a chunk out of the 40s and say, wow, it really warmed up for this, from 45 to 50 or whatever years it is. So just that in mind. But yeah, as of late, it's been pretty late in terms of the winter start. Christine, oh, you're welcome. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate your comment for sure. Debbie, you're welcome as well. Dorothy, yeah, I love the closed captioning. Yeah, because you can't hear anything, right? Okay, Kristen asks, when is the worst weather going to hit the DeMotte area? So, and this is for everybody. In terms of the severity of this, it's this part right here. This is the part we're watching. This is where the most uplift is, where you see some of the brighter oranges. I don't see anything severe with that. So in terms of the worst weather, Kristen, it's going to be just the heavy rain. We've got some real heavy rain coming our way right now. And within this heavy rain, we're going to watch for those pockets of spin ups. Right now, I'm not seeing anything squirrely on radar. I don't see anything that's worthy of rotation or anything like that. Hopefully we can keep it that way. There is a low risk for that as it moves through. But this will be the worst weather. And again, for DeMotte, that is going to be probably another half hour. I mean, you've got heavy rain that's starting to move in now. It's only going to get heavier. If you're watching us right now, either on YouTube or here on Facebook, from Lake County or Newton County, you're dealing with some heavier rain now. I'll actually pause the radar and show you where we're at right now. So we're getting some pretty heavy rain right now, starting to move in. Some of these oranges getting ready to head into Newton County are going to, I mean, you're going to hear it. It's going to be some pretty heavy downpour action going on. And you can see where we've got some of that heavier rain crossing the state line now. So Morocco Brook over towards Roselawn, DeMont getting some heavier rain now, but we've got much heavier rain moving in. So I would say next half hour, 45 minutes, you'll really get the soaking rain, occasional lightning strikes, and some gusty winds as well. Derek, you're absolutely welcome. Absolutely, Derek. Thank you for that. Rob asking, will Destin, Florida be in the 80s for spring break? Rob, it depends on when spring break is, buddy. It could be February, it could be, early April. I'm going to say yes, though. I'm going to say yes this earlier. Madison, great question, asking if it's going to come to Westville, Indiana. It is. Again, when we're talking about, what's coming to Westville, we're just talking heavy rain for everyone right now. There's nothing severe within this line. This is all very heavy rain. We're going to keep our eye on stuff like this. I'm going to keep my eye on the winds within that, because oftentimes we can get these quick spin up tornadoes. I don't see a big tornado threat for us locally. Our temperatures are in the 50s. Dew points aren't high enough, so it's not supporting anything that's really structured. You have to go a little bit further south for that. But I don't want to say that I don't see a threat and then we have something spin up. That would be the big problem. And I don't quite want to call that yet. I'd rather get this line in here, see how it behaves, and we'll go from there. Kristen, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Ann, watching us over on our YouTube page. Thank you, Ann. Raining pretty good here in Cherville. Yeah, you're starting to get into it in Cherville right now. Some of that heavier rain stretching back to the south suburbs of Chicago. This is what you're getting in there, Ann. It's this stuff just to your west. So this is a good soaking rain. The real heavy stuff is in the orange. You can see that's getting ready to head into Newton County here, where we're really going to have some downpours. And then everyone, including you and Cherville there, will get on this heavier, like real heavy rain that's off to the west still too. Alexis is laughing or crying. I can't tell. My emojis on here don't look very good. I think that's crying, laughing. Aaron, Hammond, Indiana was there to expect and hope everyone is safe. Aaron, Hammond, same boat. You're getting heavier rain right now. That rain will continue to be moderate to heavy, probably over the next, I would say, hour and 15 minutes, perhaps. You'll get some real heavy rain in about a half hour, and that's going to be the part that we're watching for severe weather. Strong winds are possible with that, but as of right now, I'm not seeing anything that's severe, so that's good. Susan, pretty much same thing for you. Just heavy rain that's going to be moving in another hour, 15 or so of it. And again, we'll watch some of those orange pockets you see. Those are the more developed thunderstorms. We'll watch to make sure there's no spin ups within that. Aaron says up to 57 in Hobart. Yeah, that's pretty standard for everyone. I think everyone's either at 55, 56, 57. There were some 59-degree reports down in southern Newton County as well. So yeah, everyone's in the 50s. Again, the dew point can never go above the temperature, and the dew point to me is the one that matters. I think we need to get our dew point to 60 if we're going to have a real good severe weather threat. And I don't think we're going to make it. I really don't. So dew point can never go above temperature. So if your temperature is not at 60, your dew point can't get there. So as soon as we start seeing some 60-degree temperatures, yeah, maybe I'll start to worry a little bit. Oh, Alexis, that's funny. The spring break comments, yeah, right. Eden asking, watching from Lowell, what's shaking? Raven asking the same thing. Elijah, let's look at the hail. We can look that up. There has been some hail within this. I don't see this as being a huge hail event. That would have happened with the warm front. Pam, you're welcome. Susan, you're welcome as well. So let's answer the questions. I want to talk to Raven and Eden about Lowell. What's going on? You've got just a general light rain right now. It's really not that bad. But you can see off towards your west, here's some of the heavier rain that's moving in. Here's where you are right here, right there on the map if you can't see the letters. But a general heavier rain is going to move in here, probably 10 minutes or so for you. And then we get the heavy stuff, probably another 15 to 25 minutes on that. You'll have a couple occasional lightning strikes. I've even seen a downtick in the lightning as well. So that's some good news. Not seeing a whole lot about that. Alyssa just hopping on as well. What's happening in Valpo? Alyssa, let's answer your question for you. So here we are up in Valpo. It just started raining there. You've got pretty good downpour now. It'll probably lighten up for another 5 minutes or so. And then we're dealing with heavy rain. So for those, I understand YouTube and Facebook are very transient. So people are in and out, and that's totally fine. So the big picture the rest of the evening, we've got an ongoing severe weather event across a good portion of the country. Tennessee Valley getting raked, Arkansas as well, Missouri, even central Illinois saw some pretty decent action. Let me kind of zoom out here. So we've had some real rough weather across a good portion of the country. For us, what we're watching is this rough weather move in to a more stable air mass. So it's, as always, the battle between, are we stable enough to kind of qualm the storms, or do the storms override the stability part? So that's kind of what we're dealing with. So that's the answer to that. Hopefully that helps. And then what was the other question I was going to answer? I forgot. Oh, the hail. Elijah, let's look at the hail for you. You can see there's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Joliet. That is probably due to wind. Let's double check though, so we can look at these here. So this is actually the report from the Weather Service out. So that's Will County, Grundy County as well. The storm's moving northeast at 60. That's what we talked about. And their hazard with this is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So yeah, so that's what we talked about at the beginning of this broadcast, that these storms, as they move in, the biggest threat to me is going to be the damaging wind rather than the tornado. Let's look for Elijah at the hail though. So we can look inside these storms. Again, I don't think these are big hailers. And we can look at something called the VIL, which is the vertically integrated liquid that shows some of the hail within the storms. And again, running this live stream and trying to run a streaming radar is taking a toll on our fast internet. So sorry, it takes a minute or two. I know we're all used to things instantly. But here you go. Here's where the hail is now. So likely some small hail. This goes back to Elijah's question about the hail. Some of these blue shaded areas, that could be some small hail, probably on the order of pea size or smaller. So it's nothing too major right now. But again, there could be some hail, some very small hail falling within the heavy rain. You probably won't be able to tell because some of the pockets where this heavy, there are the small hails forming is where the real heavy rain is as well. And sometimes the radar is picking up on the hail rather than the rain. So it's actually kind of counterintuitive there, but a little bit of hail. We're not expecting any large hail with this. Again, this isn't the setup for that. But that's a great question though, Elijah. I appreciate you asking that. Let's look at the wind real quick within the storm. Yeah, so we've got some strong winds within this, as expected. This isn't surprising at all. But you can see these are the little pockets we're going to have to watch. And this gets kind of annoying that we have to do this. But these little pockets right in here, this one right in here, the little shadows you see, it's almost, sometimes as a meteorologist doing radar analysis, I feel like a dentist where you're doing an x-ray of the teeth and you're looking up for the little shadows in the teeth that, happen to be, cavities. And that's kind of what we're looking at here on the radar is, and I'm going to play this in motion here, is you get these pockets where you have strong wind and then you have wind from the other direction. So you can get little spin up tornadoes on that. But the other thing is these little spin up tornadoes would cause probably as much damage as the damaging wind would be from some of these storms. So keep that in mind. Just kind of little squirrely cells there. Nothing crazy right now. Nothing that I personally would issue a tornado warning on. But you can see these little pockets. They're just kind of annoying. You just got to watch them. And again, that's something that I'll be doing here as we go through time. So let's go back to the radar because rain's going to be affecting everyone here. And it's moving east. I mean, this stuff's moving at highway speed, folks, 60, 65 miles per hour at times. It's racing off towards the east. We're getting real heavy rain near Bourbonnais right now. That's heading into Newton County. So Newton County getting real heavy rain right now, likely some small hail with that and occasional lightning. And you can see there is a new severe thunderstorm warning down to the south as well. And that one is for Livingston County, Ford County, and Iroquois County. And again, that is for 60-mile-per-hour winds as well. They're tracking these storms at 70 miles per hour to the north and the east. So these things are coming in fast. They'll be out of here fast as well. So I said, I promise an hour 15 on this. This may only take an hour to get through overall. So appreciate that. Yeah, no problem, Eden. You're absolutely welcome. Jeff, thanks for that update. Yep. I think we covered it. Derek said 2 deaths already reported in Arkansas. Derek, obviously thoughts go out to those families. I would not be surprised if there's more. They had some large tornadoes down there, not just in Arkansas. Missouri had some pretty big ones as well. So I'm not seeing any of that stuff for us here, right? Their dynamics down there atmospherically were there to produce some bigger tornadoes. And we saw that coming, right? That's where that bullseye was on our first Region Weather Live today. We are not in that bullseye. We're on the outer fringe of this. So just to put everyone at ease, we're not going to see huge tornadoes out of this. If we had any tornado out of this line as it moved through, it'd be a quick spin up tornado. Not to be, you need to take those seriously as well, but we're not set up for huge tornadoes, especially with temps in the 50s right now. Lafayette looks rainy. You stand a better risk at some severe weather. There's a severe thunderstorm warning. Here we are right here if you can't see it. Off towards your west, there's severe thunderstorm warnings. These are the same storms that we're dealing with. You've just got better dynamics. You're a little warmer down there. Your dew point's a little higher as well, so you can support severe weather easier. So what we're dealing with down here would be this line that will move through, probably have some strong winds with it and heavy rain. I mean, it's probably going to be close to like a hurricane for a little while where you have real strong winds and rain, and then it's out of here. Further off towards the north, we're going to be dealing with that once we get into this action, which we're already starting to see move into Newton County. So if anyone's listening right now from Newton County, if you could send a report our way. And again, the whole point of these Region Weather Lives are we can interact with each other as well, give each other, reports and all sorts of stuff like that. So anyone in Newton County, if you could let us know what's going on in terms of wind with the rain. You can see the real heavy rain overspreading the county now. Here's Newton County. And you can see how we got the heavier rain, and now we're getting perhaps some small hail with that as well. So Newton County is the first to receive what we're going to be dealing with everywhere here this evening. Christina, no, Maryville doesn't look too bad. Everyone's the same in this, so every spot's the same. So the way I'm describing it's how it's going to affect everybody. Where the rain's really going to pick up, we're likely going to have some pockets of stronger winds as this moves through. And it's not going to be widespread severe weather by any means, but heavy rain, some strong winds, and perhaps a little bit of small hail, and then we'll get it out of here. So that's what we're dealing with. And I appreciate, we got a question coming in from YouTube right now. Sea Island Fairy Dreams. Appreciate joining us on YouTube. How is it going to play out in Pulaski County? That's a great question. I think the same as everyone else. Pulaski County's right on the borderline of the severe weather threat, I think, where the dynamics are a little bit better. So I think the threat is just a little bit higher for you than it is for like Lake Porter and LaPorte counties, but heavy rain moving in for you. You're already starting to see the rain now. And that rain will pick up in intensity. You'll get the heavy rain. We'll likely have some stronger winds as it moves through, and perhaps some hail as well. Stephanie, thank you for that. It's interesting that we're seeing some lightning. You could see some of the lightning strikes we've had. There's not a ton of lightning with this, but there is some. And you can see some of the strikes, especially down in Newton County. Newton County seeing some pretty good strikes. You see the last couple frames here, all those little lightning bolts pop up. We've had, that looks like several strikes in the last 15 minutes or so down there. Yeah, Tracy says it sounds awful outside. I bet it does, Tracy. I mean, this is really heavy rain. It is. And combined with the wind, it's not going to sound good. But I assure you, in terms of storm development and stuff like that, the tornado risk is very low right now. And again, I'm keeping a close eye on it like a hawk. And I'm not seeing anything that indicates anything squirrely outside of the strong winds. So there you go. Thanks for the update, though, Tracy. I appreciate that. Chrissy says on the border of Newton and Jasper, just rain, winds blow every now and then. Thank you very much for that, Christy. Christy, you've got probably another 10, 15 minutes before this line gets to you right here. That's the one I think is producing the wind, at least in my radar analysis. So let me know in 10 or 15 minutes how the wind is with that. Pam can hear the thunder down to the south, raining a little harder here. Yep. Lisa says picking up in Brook. Thank you, Lisa. A little lightning in Brook. Thank you for that. Morocco, Rebecca, thanks for joining us here. Hearing some thunder from time to time. Nicole says getting windy, but not so much rain in Goodland yet. Some lightning and thunder. That rain's coming, Nicole. It'll be a matter of time here. You'll get some heavy rain, but great report. I appreciate that. Rhonda, you're absolutely welcome. You're absolutely welcome with that. Everyone enjoying their Friday evening. Boy, if you were to tell me on a calendar that on December 10th, we would be dealing with severe weather coverage here on Region Weather Live on a Friday night, rather than wrapping gifts or, perhaps, enjoying a cup of hot cocoa with some snow falling outside, I probably would have bet against you. Just saying that. But this is quite a storm system. And again, the tornadoes, we were up to 18 tornado warnings across the Tennessee Valley, Arkansas, Missouri at one point. This is going to go down as one of the bigger tornado events of the entire year for much of the Tennessee Valley and the Mississippi Valley as well. So I'm glad we're on kind of the in-between stage where we're not getting the real heavy snow that's off to the north of this. We're not getting the real severe weather that's south of this. We're kind of in between. But we got to get through the next hour here. We're going to watch these storms move east, then we should be okay. So let's see. Patricia says, hi, Patricia. Mild but steady rain in Maryville. Just drove home from Dyer. You got home just in time, Patricia. Seriously. You got home just in time. It's really going to start coming down here over the next 5 minutes. We've got real heavy rain moving right into your place right there. So there you go. Holly, thank you for that with the windy report. Hopefully nothing too crazy, but Rensselaer's in the thick of it right now as well. Joey, that's sweet. Another good year of forecast. Merry Christmas. If there's anyone on here, I always assume everyone, we've all been together for a long time. But if there's anyone on here that perhaps this is your first time tuning into Region Weather Live. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a meteorologist. I was the chief meteorologist at Lakeshore Public Television for 7 years. And I'm getting old now, but they decided not to do the TV angle of news, right? So I ended up going down to Georgia. I was the chief meteorologist down there, and now I'm actually in Cleveland, and I'm a meteorologist at the NBC station in Cleveland, Ohio. So yeah, I am in Ohio right now, but my heart and family, I've got family and friends, and my heart and soul rests with the region. So the second I left, I said, who's going to cover weather for Northwest Indiana? Because Chicago stations don't do it, right? They do occasionally, but from forecasting there for 7 years, right, we get all sorts of weather. We get lake effect, we get stuff like this that moves through, right? And we never got the coverage for it. It was crazy. Especially the lake effect events would make me so angry. We'd have like 14 inches of snow, and the Chicago stations didn't even realize it. And so that made me angry. Anyway, so I created a Facebook page years ago called Region Weather, and it's been something ever since. And we go live when there's severe weather like this. And we have regionweather.com with daily updates. I hate overwhelming me with posts. So we just talk about it when we need to, right? And this is one of those nights when we need to. So I certainly appreciate that. Sherry, thanks for joining us. Sherry's been with us for a while. Appreciate the update. Raining and warm. Yeah, it certainly is warm out there by December standards. Terry, thank you for that report out of Griffith. Appreciate that. Let's see. What areas expecting a tornado to hit? Becky, I'm not expecting a tornado to hit anywhere. That's the good news. So we've had big tornadoes down to the south. There were even a couple tornadoes reported out of the Illinois area. And that's what we're dealing with right now. We're keeping a real close eye on these storms as they move through. These are the same storms in Illinois that did produce tornadoes back in the past. But Becky, we talked about at the beginning of this broadcast, the dynamics in the atmosphere aren't structured locally over Northwest Indiana the way they are in Illinois, and especially the way they are down south. So we don't have as much lift in the atmosphere. We have a lot of things working against tornado development locally. Not to say it can't happen. We could still get a quick spin up out of this, and that's what we're going to keep our eye on. And I'm actually going to jump back into radar analysis in a second because I want to get a fresh scan. I don't want to be talking about this and all of a sudden there's a quick spin up. Stephanie, thank you so much for that report out of Lake Village. The rain really picking up. Yeah, you're getting soaked right now. Rebecca, right. I appreciate that. Terry, you're welcome as well. Alexis, absolutely. Okay, here's a good one. Real quick, Leanne, I'm gonna hold off on this real quick. I'll keep your question up on the screen. Actually, I'm gonna take it down and I'll come right back to it because I want to get to the radar. I just want to make sure we're good with this as it moves through. So let's go. You can see the tornado warnings down to the south. I'll zoom out again. You can see south of Champaign, there's a tornado warning. St. Louis, that's their second one. They had one with the first storm. Louisville, Kentucky, or as bad TV anchors say, Louisville, Kentucky. It's Louisville. You gotta, but anyway, they've got a tornado warning down there as well. And I'm sure there's more down in the Arkansas, Tennessee area. So let me pause the radar. It's been moving a little too much. So we're going to keep it kind of where it is right now and do a radar analysis. So Lake County right now, here you are, you're right in here. I know it's tough to see. Heavy rain moving in, real heavy rain moving into the southern half of the county. So we've got a good downpour in Crown Point right now, but south of Lowell, we've got some very heavy rain moving in, likely some small hail with this and some stronger wind gusts. Rensselaer, you've had heavier rain, but it's going to get even heavier off towards your west. Likely some small hail and some strong winds with that as well. The rain has now made it into LaPorte County. Porter County, you're right in here. You're seeing some occasional light to moderate rain. It's coming down pretty good, especially the south side of Valpo right now. And then areas of Pulaski County and Stark County seeing some heavier rain as well. And again, that will continue to ramp up. This is what we've got coming in. And again, this is the part that I want to watch is right here. This line heading through Manteno, Bourbonnais, Kankakee right now. That is where the wind is with this line. If there's going to be something weird, I feel like it's going to be in that as that moves east. So let's check for something weird, shall we? We're going to look at the wind right now. So this is a wind within the storm. We've got a pretty strong pocket here coming into southern Newton County. Those are some strong winds, probably just sub-severe. So we probably have gusts to 40, 50 maybe within that, at least just above the surface. This is a little area of rotation heading into the Lowell area. Not to fear because storms rotate all the time. That doesn't mean there's a tornado. The atmosphere is structured for storms to rotate. So I'll keep my eye on it. It's nothing weird. I wouldn't even say be on alert for it. I would just say, that little storm's rotating a little bit. This right here, you have a nice pocket of stronger push of winds here coming into Manteno. You've got lighter winds out ahead of it. So that's another area you watch. When I talk about quick spin-ups, they tend to be on things like this, where you get a line. And much like when you push your hand through a bathtub water, you get the little swirls on the side. Same thing here. We're pushing our hand through the bathtub water, and you can get these little swirls on the sides of it. So that's what we're going to watch as that moves east. That would be a Lake County problem in probably 15, 20 minutes. And again, I don't foresee it being a problem, but again, as a meteorologist, I like to let you know what I'm looking at. And that's what I'm going to be watching is that right there. This little area of rotation here, which doesn't look like much, not a big deal. And I think really the biggest concern right now is this pocket of stronger winds heading into Newton County. Other than that, there's not a lot of wind to write home about anywhere else. This is nothing, right? There's just a nice breeze for areas, Valpo up towards the Michigan City area. Cool. That's what we're dealing with. In terms of hail, let's look that up. Still some small hail, some bigger pockets of hail. This could be, it could be, I'd say pea size, maybe dime size here in southern Newton County. That shows a little uptick in storm intensity. And you've got a little bit of hail there, probably pea size heading into, it's right on the Newton and Lake County border. So south of Lowell, likely heading into town though shortly. That's it. Other than that, this is hail that's probably melting before it hits the ground. Not really a big deal in terms of the hail with this. So the wind we'll keep our eye on. We've got heavy rain for everybody. It's really coming down now. Southern Lake County, it's really coming down in Newton County as well. And again, all this advancing north and east really fast. 60 to 70 miles per hour is how fast this is moving, because this is all rooted in that jet stream, which is above us. And that's the reason for the dynamics today. Okay. So that's our analysis. Nothing spooky right now, just some heavier rain. That's it. So let's see. So Leanne says, can you explain the difference between a tornado watch and a severe thunderstorm warning with the caveat tornado possible attitude? I feel like all of a sudden I start hearing this later in the summer, yeah, or the latter this summer a lot more. Leanne, you're absolutely right. So the Weather Service has decided to start adding tags to storms. So they'll say, you know, tornado possible. That's really the only one I can think of that they've added is the tornado possible to the severe thunderstorm ones. So a tornado watch is issued hours in advance, right? A tornado watch means, and I don't know if you guys have seen the meme with the taco watch and the taco warning. So taco watch means I have all the ingredients to my taco out. And then a taco warning is I'm eating my taco. Has anyone seen that? It helps. It really does. So a tornado watch means conditions are going to be favorable for a tornado, right? Newton and Jasper County are under a tornado watch because it's a northern extent of more active weather down to the south. But the possibility is there for a tornado, says the Storm Prediction Center for Newton and Jasper County. It's still there for everybody. All right. Mother Nature has no borders. They just have to draw it somewhere. So tornado watch means possible, right? Let's be on the lookout over the next couple hours, right? Tornado warning would mean we have a tornado right now that's either detected by radar or someone's seen it. The severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag means that it's not quite indicated by radar, but it's like an area to watch. So, for example, this storm heading into Manteno, if I saw a little bit better of a spin up potential there, and I were at a weather service, for example, our local weather service, I would say, hey, so, and look at this, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, and that's for the strong winds moving in. So, you know, what I would say in terms of that would be, you know, okay, this could form a quick spin up. So I'm going to put a tornado tag on it, but I'm still going to keep a severe thunderstorm warning, because once you have a tornado warning, you know, everything gets triggered. You have the sirens, you have EMS that goes, you know, into their protocol and all that stuff. Okay. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, nothing abnormal, nothing that we haven't talked about already. And this is for the strong winds with that line. This is that line back towards Manteno that we talked about. So they issued a big warning here. And what I mean by big warning, it's including a big area, because everyone's pretty much going to see the same thing with this. So Will County, Kankakee County, Northern Newton County, and Lake County now under severe thunderstorm warning. You probably got the alert on your phone a couple minutes ago. We're on it. It's moving northeast at 50, 60 mile per hour winds. Most intense part of the storm is heading towards Beecher. And that's the part that we watch. So let's get this out of the way. I'm going to pause the radar here where we are. And again, guys, it's for that line that we already talked about. It's not here yet. So it's this part right here. And they said the most intense part of the line's heading towards Beecher. That's exactly what we talked about earlier, right here. There's Beecher. So that would move into Cedar Lake, Crown Point, St. John. And even Maryville. And what are we talking about in terms of most intense part? Well, let's look at the wind. There's probably a good wind chunk there coming in with the heavy rain. So let's get into it. I'm starting to lose my voice. I think we're at 54 minutes now. I tend to do that around the 50-minute mark. Yeah, so nothing squirrely here. There's some stronger winds down in Newton County. But again, this is the part, and see, this is that little spin up part. It's starting to rotate a little bit now, right near Beecher. That's exactly your local weather service is fantastic, by the way, in Chicago out of Romeoville. They are so good at warnings, and I tend to agree with them every time. I've worked with some weather service where I don't really agree with their polygons, but this is a perfectly drawn warning, and I think they're in tune with this cell right here, which they should be. There's a little bit of rotation. It's nothing strong yet. Again, it's nothing to be concerned about, but we do need to keep our eye on this storm. I will say that. And this would be what I talked about earlier for that quick spin up potential. And again, it's tracking like this. So Cedar Lake, Crown Point, Winfield, Maryville, even Cherville, we'll have to watch this. You can see we just got the latest scan in. When you have green, that is wind that's going toward the radar. So this is wind coming out of the southeast like that. When you have red, it's going away from the radar. So we have wind that's kind of coming like this. And when you have that, you can, I mean, you just picture it, wind going together like that. You can tend to get a little something like this, where you get this little eddy that spins up. This is not a robust signature at all. That just tells me that that thunderstorm's rotating, and I'm going to keep my eye on it. And again, it happens all the time. Thunderstorms rotate all the time as well. But we're going to watch this. We're going to watch this for those of you in Lake County. And then down to the south, you see some of these pockets of darker or brighter greens in there. That indicates some pockets of some stronger winds mixing in with the rain. Okay. So nothing weird right now. Very heavy rain. I'll tell you that, boy, it is really coming down in Lowell right now. How are my Lowell folks doing? It's lightning and it's pouring. You've got the heaviest rain yet right now. Hebron, you're about to get it. Couts, heavy rain coming your way as well. And again, this is the part we're watching. Once this is through, I think our severe weather threat's over. I really do. Leanne, I hope that helps. Let's see. Debbie says tornado warning and tornado emergency in Kentucky. I believe it. It's that same cell, Debbie, that's tracked probably 40, 50 miles now. That storm has been a beast down there. Sherry, thank you for that loud thunder comment. Thank you for that. Oh, Kristen, you're welcome. I appreciate you appreciating that as well. Yeah. I've been on the morning show all this week. I am so jacked up in terms of hours. For the morning show, folks, I'm up at 1:30. I got to get in by 3 o'clock, and we're on air by 4:30. But I usually go to bed like 1:30, and I had to get up at 1:30 and go to work. And I did that I did it 7 days in a row this week because our morning meteorologist out. I'm usually in the evenings, and I just jacked my schedule. So I've just been so tired at weird times and all that. So I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff in terms of taking time out, that my wife puts up with too. So she certainly appreciates that. Joey, thank you for that. Thunder and wind starting a little in Wheatfield. Yeah, it's going to get heavier in Wheatfield. You're right down here, Joey. You can see you're in some decent rain now. Real heavy rain about to move in, and then you've got more real heavy rain behind that. Again, this is all moving pretty quickly. Sherry, thank you for that update. I hope they're okay. I haven't been following what's going on in Diamond. Is that where they had the tornado warning earlier? Oh, you said that they had the tornado warning earlier. Christine, thank you for that. Wow, Natalie, that's so cool. Watching you from Germany at 4:45 a.m. I saw your earlier video. I was worried about my husband and fur babies in Plymouth. Okay. Yeah, Natalie, nothing to worry about. Heavy rain right now. I hope the fur babies are okay with the lightning. It's not too crazy. But over towards Plymouth, you're just starting to get the rain there. That rain will really pick up. It's just, these are just messy looking. There's like 3 lines. I don't like the lines. I just don't like the way, and that's all because the jet stream's so strong up above us that it's just it's making this not pretty. It is squirrely, and I don't like squirrely storms. That's my meteorological term, is squirrely. It means I don't like them. Yeah, Tyra, thanks for that warning. I think I might be really behind in comments here. I could see lightning. Rob, thank you for that comment on that. I'm going to zoom ahead because I think I got really behind on comments. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, we're talking about that. Okay, Eden has a good comment. Lily, 10 years old, is watching and wants to know if you can explain why some areas get heavy rain and some get light rain from the same storm. Lily, that's a great question. I love that. So the reason why, Lily, is because the atmosphere is, how do I best explain it? The atmosphere is chaotic. It is. Have you ever looked at, Lily, if you have ever blown a bubble before and you look on the surface of the bubble and you see how just everything's going kind of crazy on there? That's what the atmosphere is. The atmosphere is fluid. So it's moving at all times. And people say, meteorologist Matt, why can't you predict the weather accurately? Which to them I say, well, show me proof. But hey, we do get it wrong sometimes. Totally fine. I get it. We're trying to predict the future. But anyway, to them, Lily, I say, if the atmosphere would just stop moving, there's like 411 trillion atoms or something moving at once. I forget what the latest the measurement is on that. but it's always moving. So when we think we have it down in terms of what's happening, it's already moved already. And so the same thing happens in thunderstorms where the clouds are always moving, and some of them get heavy and they put down heavy rain, and some aren't so heavy yet, so they don't put down heavy rain. So you can have the same storm cloud, which is huge, right? And it's always moving. And some parts can get heavy and your neighbor can get heavy rain. And then perhaps you're on the part where you're underneath the lighter cloud and it doesn't produce the rain. So I hope that helps, Lily, or I just confused you, or maybe you decided you never want to be a meteorologist. Not sure, but I appreciate the question. Shar says it's pouring, like pouring in caps in Lowell. Yes, you are getting hammered right now. The heaviest just moved through you, but you're still getting some real good downpours. Maya, thank you for your comment on the thunder in Lowell. William asks, what about Portage? So, William, you are just now getting into it. You've got decent rain falling right now. You've got some real heavy rain that's going to arrive in about 10, 11 minutes or so. And again, that's going to be the real heavy rain. You'll probably have some gusty winds with that as well. Hope that helps. Yeah, Kristen says Crown Point getting it. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad in Wheatfield. I hope not either. I have a feeling it's not going to, Jacqueline, just some heavier rain. AJ, what's up, buddy? Raining nicely in Valpo. Also can't remember last time there's severe thunderstorm warnings in December. I could look that up. I would have to do some research, but that's not hard to find. There's an Iowa Mesonet site where you can look up that information. And again, severe thunderstorm warnings in December are not uncommon. Well, let's put it this way. They're uncommon, but they've happened before. I know I was looking up research for a different area over towards Fort Wayne. Someone messaged me on our Facebook page and was just asking about that. And that wasn't too long ago. And I think we had 18 warnings issued in December. So certainly on hold of. Jeff, thanks for that update. The Amazon was hit and collapsed in Edwardsville. Yeah, this is the same group of storms that went through Illinois, but they're just, again, we've got different atmospheric dynamics right now. Skylar was wondering that. Yeah, stuff like that. Let's see. William, you're welcome. Shar, I appreciate that. I'm going to try to get ahead again. I'm going to skip all the way ahead. So let's see. All right, let's keep an eye on these storms. I want to go back to the wind again and see what we've got. Yeah, so so you guys are getting tornado warnings now. Is that true? Because I do not have a connection with the Weather Service right now. But I will. Yes, we do have new tornado warnings. Okay, so that's the storm we're watching right now. So they have just issued a tornado warning about a minute ago. You're right. And that is for that storm near Beecher. So it's the same one we're talking about. And again, this is radar indicated, so it's not indicated on the ground. There we go. We got our new warning. All right, let's jump into it, everybody. Thank you for that update on that. So you are getting tornado sirens. This to me does not look like a clear-cut tornado. It really doesn't. It's a storm that we need to watch closely. But this is what we're looking at. So we're looking at, when you see a radar like this, we're looking at the wind, right? And we look for the reds and the greens next to each other. We've got a push of wind on the northern side. That's outside the polygon for this, okay? On the southern end right here, this is the storm that they're watching coming out of Beecher. And as we zoom in even further, you can see on the last radar scan, this is why they issued the tornado warning. On that last radar scan, there's this little bright shaded area of red right there. That indicates some kind of pocket of very strong wind that just showed up. Let me see if I can go back to where it was before. I want to see, because that was that same pocket that we're watching back towards Beecher. Remember back in here when we were talking about that area of rotation? All right, we're loading here. So as we go through time, you can see as this storm moves in, there's that little area of rotation, and that's what we're dealing with is this quick spin up. Yes, so this has now become that quick spin up that we were talking about earlier. All right, so let's get into it, everybody. If you're in Lake County, in that tornado polygon box, I think that's aptly drawn. I think they did a really good job with that. It might be a little farther to the north, but you need to be in a safe place. So this is the area that we're watching right here. And you can see how that continues to develop with that latest scan. This isn't a huge area of rotation. This is going to be one of those quick spin ups that we talked about. So not a huge tornado threat with this. But again, this would be a spin up tornado that would produce some damage. And again, this is just northwest of Cedar Lake. So areas in the path of the storm, southern end of St. John, that's going to be a spot to watch. Maryville, you'll be in the path of this as well, and Crown Point. If you're in Crown Point right now, you'd be next in line. Cedar Lake right now, you need to be in your safe place with this. But it's this pocket right here, which is heading just like that. So this is going to cross I-65 here in not too long. Crown Point, probably another 5 minutes or so. And it doesn't mean there's a tornado on the ground, okay? The first thing I would need everyone to do in Southern Lake County is to stay calm, just get to your safe place, all right? This storm has just kind of ramped up in terms of showing us that there could be not just rotation, but it could be producing a tornado or getting ready to. There could certainly be a wall cloud with this, but as of those last two scans, I totally agree. This storm is doing that little eddy thing where we have the push of wind here. We have a little spin up on the southern flank of that. You can see the northern end of that up towards Highland. That's got an interesting little spot as well that we need to keep an eye on. But again, this is for southern and central Lake County. So if you're in the northern half of the county up towards Gary, no threat from this tornado right now whatsoever. There are some stronger winds coming in, and that's in addition to the heavy rain and a little bit of hail that you're getting as well. But the main threat is going to be this little pocket right here. It's just squirrely enough that the Weather Service issued a tornado warning, and I would full-heartedly agree with them on that because over the last two scans, we've gotten this brighter little punch near Beecher that crossed the state line there and is now heading towards Cedar Lake. So now looking at the latest scan, these scans are coming in should be every minute now. The radar should be in sales mode. Which means they're getting real good looks at the storm every single radar scan. So you can see we have yet another scan in. We've got heavy rain and wind heading into Highland and Griffith, but that is not the tornadic part of the cell. It's this down here, getting ready to head into Crown Point. So Cedar Lake, the worst part of the storm is north of you right now. You likely have some very strong winds with this. Just north of you, this is the same storm we were talking about earlier. It's behaving just like we talked about earlier. Exception now is that we've got a tight area of rotation that could be producing either a wall cloud or a funnel. All right, so what we're dealing with right now, you all are getting sirens going off in Southern Lake County. I totally get that. That's because we have that tornado warning with this. Please share your reports. If anyone is in Cedar Lake or even the Crown Point area right now, again, this is our weather community, right? And please read everyone's comments as we continue to analyze these storms. But share with each other what you have going on, what you're hearing outside. And first things first, make sure you stay safe, right? We need to make sure that everyone's safe in terms of this storm. David, I see your comment on there in terms of tornado sirens going off in Griffith. I think you're a little far north of where the tornado threat is. It's probably not a bad idea to get in your safe place, but the worst part of the storm is right in here, right just north of Cedar Lake, getting ready to head into Crown Point. So when we look at radars like this, we're looking at the wind inside the storm. If we were to look at the rain, it's going to look like a big blob on radar, and you can see what we're dealing with. Some of these oranges indicating that real heavy rain that you're getting right now. This is the final line. This is what we talked about, what we've been talking about for the last hour. This is pretty much serving as the frontal boundary. So once this moves through, we will be in the clear the rest of the evening. We'll have some heavier rain. The winds will continue to gust, but this is our severe threat. This has been our severe threat throughout the evening, has been this final line. And I mentioned earlier that, the biggest threat was going to be that quick spin-up tornado threat. And that's what we're dealing with right now. This storm has gone squirrely on us. And you know what? We've got another one down to the south right here. And yep, they tornado warned that as well. You see that rotation that spiked up coming out of the Roselawn area. It's a broad area rotation near DeMont, but that is certainly indicative of an area rotation that could definitely ramp up here over the next couple minutes. So, wow, things really escalated quickly, as Ron Burgundy said, right? All right, so 2 tornado warnings now. We've got one for areas of southern Porter County. That's this box right here. I hope you can see the polygons. There's that one there, which includes Demont, that sells just south of you. Wheatfield, you would be in the path of this. Couts, you're a little far north, but we'll see how this evolves. The other tornado warning is for Lake County. You can see Crown Point in the thick of it. Maryville, you'll be getting it here shortly as this moves off towards the north and the east. And guys, the thing to keep in mind, these are the quick spin up tornadoes. These aren't the big, robust tornadoes that we saw down towards Tennessee earlier. These are quick spin up. They're ugly, all right? They're wrapped in rain, all right? They're not something you want to go outside and see. You're not going to get a good picture of it. They're not even going to look good, all right? These are, at least the potential with these are for just kind of ugly, quick spin up tornadoes, right? Neither of which, to me, show signs. This one would be a little bit too broad. There might be a wall cloud with that. But this one, just heading into Crown Point, I don't like the look of these brighter colors in here. There's definitely some kind of wind max coming into Crown Point right now. And you can see how that continues to ramp up. So regardless of if there's a tornado with this or not, and again, this is right over Crown Point. It's getting ready to head over I-65 right now. Regardless if there's a tornado in that or not, there are some strong winds with that, probably on the order of 60 to 70. We talked about earlier how these storms are tapping into the jet stream up above us. We've got a jet stream that's hauling. So the wind up in the clouds right now is anywhere from 100 to 140 miles per hour. As this storm builds up into it, it can get some of that wind energy and bring it down. It doesn't bring it all down. We don't see 140 mile per hour winds here at the surface, but we're getting one of those cases right now where this storm has gone up as an updraft and it's tapping into some of that wind and bringing it potentially down to the surface. So we've got some very strong wind, which has developed in the last 10 minutes or so in Lake County. And so I totally agree with that tornado warning because we could have some damage out of that the way this is going. So I want to talk about who's in, who's out in terms of the severe weather right now. St. John, Cherville, you are now dealing with some strong winds, but I would almost clear you out now in terms of this tornado warning. A little too soon to do that. I don't want to do it yet. You can see the stronger winds heading into areas near Gary, down towards the south. This stretches along the Borman. I-65 from Maryville up to Gary is quiet right now. Outside of the heavy rain, we're not seeing wind. But Maryville right now along US 30, this storm is heading your way, and it's also heading towards the Valpo and South Haven area. So this is a very strong area of winds within the storm. It has shown some signs of rotation as well back towards the Beecher area. Remember, that's where we picked it up, where we saw some of that rotation. But this storm has really ramped up over the last half hour or so. And it's going to continue to do so, at least producing some strong winds through areas of Lake County. So we're going to keep our eye on that. There's the latest scan. You see the strong winds. That's what you're looking at here. Probably winds 60, 70, maybe 80 miles per hour on there. And again, these are heading north and east at highway speeds. 60 to 70 miles per hour is how fast these storms are moving. So in no time, it's going to be in the Maryville area, getting along US 30. Valparaiso, you'll be in the path of this probably another 10 minutes or so. And then Hobart and South Haven, we'll see if it clips you in Hobart. I would get in a safe place just in case. And then towards South Haven, you seem to be right in line. So please know where you are on the map. I hope you can see all these little towns on here because that certainly helps. But this is heading this way like that, right? And it's that area that we're going to continue to watch. I want to zoom out of that. There's some very strong winds. This whole thing must be getting a little jet streak in here. So sometimes you get just a big push of wind at the mid levels because all of this has ramped up in the last 10 minutes. I mean, we were talking shop here about 10 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden everything ramping up. Very strong winds out over the lake. So Gary back toward Griffith Highland, likely seeing some stronger gusts right now. But this is a dangerous storm that has really ramping up the winds now, getting ready to head out of Lake County and into Porter County, where they have extended, well, it looks like they've extended it as a severe thunderstorm warning. I don't see the tornado warning watch box on that. This storm down to the south, again, I'm not all that impressed with this. We still need to treat this like it would have a tornado warning because it does. But this is down towards the Wheatfield and the Couts area. You can see what we're looking at here in terms of the velocity. There is some rotation within this. Just north of Wheatfield would be where I'd place that. It's a broad rotation. It's not the real tight rotation that would indicate to me we would have a tornado on the ground. But again, we need to treat it like we do, especially because it's night. It's tough to see this stuff. We know it's tough to get spotters' eyes on it. So we just need to take it, with a grain of salt that it may not have a tornado, but we need to treat it like it does. So that's just north of Wheatfield. That's heading towards northeast, around 65 miles per hour. So La Crosse, Couts, you'll be in the path of that. Again, that one to me does not look as strong as this Lake County storm, which is really ramping up. Look at the wind now. Offshore out over Lake Michigan up towards Chicago, that's some serious wind. It's getting a little farther away from the radar at that point. But boy, we've got all sorts of action down to the south with this strong wind that's developing within the storm. I want to go back to the reflectivity here. Take a look at that. If you are not in these tornado warned storms right now, you're dealing with heavy rain. That's what we've been tracking throughout the evening hours. Boy, we have just some very heavy rain falling within these storms outside of the tornadoes. So down in areas of southern Lake County, northern Newton County, you're getting hit hard again with some very heavy rain. That heavy rain is now stretching into LaPorte County. Stark County starting to get some heavy rain. We've got wind as well. And we've also got the heavy rain within these tornado warned storms, which include the Hobart area, Portage, eventually heading into Michigan City. It's going to get even heavier from here. So let's get back to the velocity. When you look at a radar like this, that's called the reflectivity. That shows the heavy rain potential, right? So when you see the bright colors, that tells you how heavy the rain is. That's it. It doesn't tell you if you have a severe storm. It doesn't tell you if you have a tornado. The way we find that out is by looking at the wind within that storm. And that can show us signs in terms of where the tornadoes might be, where the strong winds are, et cetera. So here's the latest radar scan now. And again, this is your velocity scan. We've got two areas that we're watching in Northwest Indiana right now. Lake County heading into Porter County is one of them. The secondary area is southern areas of Porter County and northern areas of Jasper County. And that would include this cell right here. This is heading towards Couts. It's just north of Wheatfield. The rotation within that storm is not that I'm not impressed with that. I think it does warrant a tornado warning. So I applaud the Weather Service on doing that. But it doesn't look like a real tight area rotation to me. It looks a little bit more broad. And storms rotate all the time. This is the most rotation we've seen within a storm so far this evening. But again, to me, there's going to be strong winds, heavy rain, some lightning, and I would treat it like a tornado, but I'm kind of like, it could be a lot worse, right? It doesn't look to me like a huge radar indicated tornado. This is the big problem right now, guys. This wind is getting tapped into with these thunderstorms. They're tapping into the jet stream energy, and we're seeing a burst of wind come out of these storms into areas of eastern Lake County and west central areas of Porter County. So if you're anywhere in this kind of white shaded area right here, you can see kind of the wind meter at the bottom. I mean, we're talking 60, 70 mile per hour winds just above the surface. Remember, radar beam goes up into the clouds, so it's not getting a clear read of what's happening at the surface. So we're going to rely on you for that here on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page. But I'll tell you, by all indication of the radar, we've got some real powerful winds that are now in eastern areas of Lake County heading into central areas of Porter County. So that's what we're dealing with there. Valparaiso's strongest winds are north and west of you now. They're now crossing and going to the north of US 30, heading into South Haven. Portage, you're likely getting some stronger winds. I think the strongest is just south of you and just to your west right now. If you're in Chesterton or Valpo itself, this is a storm that we need to probably be in our safe place for. I mean, you are under a tornado warning. In terms of the tornado within this storm, where would it be? It's kind of messy right now. I don't think I could tell you exactly where that tornado would be with the fact that this storm is just kind of messy. It's just all over the place right now. So that's kind of what we're dealing with in terms of that. I want to go to big picture real quick. So I want to share a different screen here if you're cool with that. And I want to show some of the dynamics we've been talking about over the course of this storm system. So here's what we're dealing with, I guess, on a bigger picture look. You can see this is really the back edge of this frontal boundary. There's a couple storms firing back towards the west, but this one is really packing a punch in terms of the heavy rain and the linear structure of these storms. You can see temperatures have come up into the upper 50s right now. Dew points are still not impressive. So the fact that we are squeaking out these tornado warnings with the numbers that we have, to me is incredible, because my threshold for severe weather is usually a dew point of 60. To have dew points in the 50s right now, which is low, and temperatures in the 50s, this storm system is overcoming those dynamics with how strong it is. So that's really a testament to how strong this area of low pressure is. Temperatures will continue to climb probably over the next hour or so. You can see we're in the 60s back towards Illinois. Once we get this line of storms out of here, we should be okay after that. In terms of wind, the wind will continue to gust. But in terms of the real strong tornado potential or the strong wind damaging thunderstorm potential, that will be out of here before we know it, and we can breathe a sigh of relief after that. All right. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to go back to my other share screen for you, so we can get that going. Here we go. All right. Nope, that's the wrong one. So let me remove this and get this out of here. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. For those of you that aren't typically, maybe you're like, what is region weather? Like, who's this dude? I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. I was the chief meteorologist at Lakeshore Public Television in Maryville for 7 years. Northwest Indiana does not get the coverage that they need in terms of severe weather. And we realized that, and we created region weather, 7-8 years ago now. And we only cover Northwest Indiana weather. So nice to meet you. Give us a follow or a like if you can. And we do this because Chicago doesn't do this. Chicago is doing this now, but they don't always cover Northwest Indiana. So I appreciate that. Anyway, let's get back to the maps now. You can see 2 warnings still. I'm still not impressed with this one down by Couts. Likely some strong winds with that. I don't see the tornado potential with that right now. So if you're in Wanata, La Crosse, I don't imagine this tornado warning is going to be allowed to be extended. We'll see. But these strong winds up in Lake and Porter County, I am concerned about that because they have really ramped up. They're definitely tapping into jet stream energy here. And we probably have some real strong gusts now just north of Valpo. Hobart, you're in the thick of things now. Lake Station, New Chicago, South Haven. Portage, I'm going to guess the next radar scan, you're going to have some strong winds over you. The Chesterton area, winds will be picking up. We've got the heavy rain on top of this and small hail as well. So keep that in mind, okay? So it's going to be just sounding pretty nasty outside with the rain already. All right, let's see. I haven't been checking the comments. I know the sirens are going off, and they should be with your tornado warnings. Anyone right now that's in, Kimberly asking for an update on Lowell. I saw a couple of you asking about Lowell. You should be good in Lowell now. Yeah, you're completely fine now. You've cleared out in terms of the wind, and the rain is already through. So if you're in western areas of Lake County right now, that includes Maryville, back towards the west, St. John, Hammond, Highland, Cedar Lake, you're severe weather clear in terms of this line right here. We'll see what happens to your west. That would be a little ways away. I don't foresee that being a big deal. If you're in western areas of Newton County, Lake Village, Snyder, you're in the clear as well. Areas that are not in the clear are out ahead of this line. So this is the line that we're watching. This has been what we've been following all evening. Right here is the line that we're watching. As that moves off towards the east, if you live east of that line, you still have a severe threat, and that includes damaging winds. We're watching for those quick spin-up tornado potential. It's not a huge, robust tornado potential this evening. Again, quick spin-ups, if anything, all right? These aren't going to be the huge tornadoes that were on the ground down towards the south, all right? But the quick spin-ups can produce just as much damage. The high winds can as well. Once this line moves through, you're fine, right? We've got some light rain. It'll end. We'll deal with wind and warm conditions rest of the night. And then we get on the backside of the system, temperatures will crash, okay? So great question on that. For those of you that are in, let's just say, northern Porter County and northeastern Lake County. So that would include South Haven, Hobart, New Chicago, Chesterton. What kind of wind are you seeing outside right now? Rhonda says very strong winds, thunder, heavy rain in South Haven. Rhonda, thank you for that. Jeff had some high winds in the Dyer area. Dyer is now in the clear in terms of severe weather. Thank you, Jeff, for that report. Appreciate that. Gabe coming out of South Crown Point. Thank you, Gabe, for letting us know it's quieting down there for sure. And thank you for sticking with us. And thank you, Tom, for answering that. Yep. So we're saying, let's see. Mary says, Gary's good now. Yes. Hebron is about to be good out of this. Most of the heavier activity is now moving through or heading out towards your east for sure. Caitlin, you're welcome. Yep. Take it easy in Lowell. Everything's good there. All right. Rich, thank you for that update. Hunter saying windy, thunder, and lightning in Portage. Chesterton, here's the deal, Clarissa. Things are going to ramp up in Chesterton. You are about to get in the thick of it here, probably over the next 25 minutes or so. Lisa, thank you for that update. Getting rough in Brook right now. Michigan City getting pretty good thunder. Thank you, Nicole. Nicole, this is heading towards Michigan City as well. So just so you know. Eden, thank you for your update. Thanks for being with us since the beginning of the broadcast. I appreciate that. We're now almost an hour and a half now. Wow, where does the time go? Thank you, Janet, for that update as well. Hope everything's going well, Janet. Janet's been with Region Weather for a long time. I appreciate that. Allison asking about DeMont, and then Adam saying crazy wind in Valpo right now for sure. Carson, thank you. You're watching on our YouTube channel. I appreciate that update. Terrible wind shaking the house. Let's not do that. Yeah, so these winds are really tapping into that jet stream, as I mentioned. So let's get back. I want to do a quick radar analysis here again. Since we're getting scans every minute, I want to go back to that. To me, this indicates just real strong winds right now. I mean, this is really ramped up. Let's put this in motion to see how these winds have really evolved. And again, we're streaming, we're doing all sorts of things here, so it's going to take just a moment for this to load. But this whole area right here, yeah, look at this. So this was nothing about 25 minutes ago. And look at how these winds. So this storm's coming across, right? And it's building. It's building as it does. And it starts to tap into that jet stream energy. And the downdrafts are pulling it down. And that's what you see here as we go through time. Notice how the winds just start to really brighten up there. That is the wind coming down from the top of the cloud, coming down to the ground. And that's what many of us are feeling on the ground right now in northern Porter County and northeastern areas of Lake County. These are some serious winds right now, folks. Probably on the order 60, 70. I would not be surprised if we had an 80-mile-per-hour gust in here out of this. So just some serious, serious winds. This is right over the Borman right now. This extends up 94. Chesterton, winds are really picking up. It's strongest just south of you here. Portage, Lake Station, New Chicago, still seeing some very strong winds. This is getting up into the beachfront properties, Dune Acres, Ogden Dunes, Michigan City. It's a matter of time before this gets up towards you. You've probably got another 10 minutes if you're in Michigan City before the strongest winds hit. But these are damaging winds, folks. You know, we had talked about this, 2 or 3 days ago on regionweather.com. I was talking about the strong winds, and we mentioned, your Christmas decorations. I know a lot of us have worked so hard to get in the yards all prepared and ready to go. I hope everything's tied down. Now is not the time, obviously, to go outside and make sure they're in good shape. But boy, these winds have ramped up so much within this storm that you're probably going to have your neighbor's Christmas lights. I'll be honest, in pockets here, especially right here. Boy, areas of Porter County right now are just getting hit hard with wind. Is anyone else seeing this? So in terms of warnings right now, we've lost the tornado warnings. That's good news. We're down to severe thunderstorm warnings. So I don't think much materialized with the southern storm. Remember, I wasn't too impressed with that tornado warning. That storm is over Wanata now, heading towards Hanna. Again, there's not a real strong sign of rotation. Storms rotate all the time. We have to keep that in mind. And so we've got rotation here. DeMont, there's a little rotation there. Near Couts, there's some weak rotation. You can see this storm still has a rotation. So these storms are rotating, but it's not a real tight, compact rotation. It's kind of broad. So as long as we can keep that rotation on a broad level, our severe or our tornado threat from this is low. The problem is we have a damaging wind threat on top of that. So oftentimes with this setup, damaging winds are going to produce more damage than a tornado would, right? Because the tornado winds would be 70, 80 miles per hour in a weak tornado, and these damaging winds can do just as much. So we need to treat this almost like we would a tornado warning elsewhere, because it's going to produce that kind of damage in pockets where it comes down. Not everyone's going to see it, but a large area, I think, with this wind is going to see it. So we're down to severe thunderstorm warnings now. There is no tornado warning as of right now. And so we've got severe thunderstorm warnings out for Jasper County. You notice how they stretch over towards the Plymouth area. We had a Region Weather Live viewer from Germany earlier who has family in the Plymouth area. So we're now getting into there. Strong winds are the primary threat, not a tornado right now. So there's no, I think I saw a comment on there, where's the tornado? So there would be no tornado anywhere right now, right? It's just very strong winds within the storm. I don't like the look of what these storms are doing in LaPorte County and Porter County. You see how we're getting kind of the darker shading there next to this big wind max. I don't like that, because that could easily lead to some kind of spin up tornado where we get just a little inflow here, and then you have this bright outflow there. So pockets that I would watch right now, I'm going to zoom in if that's cool. Let me see. So pockets that I would watch would be right in here, in this whole area here. So that would include Valparaiso, but I would be more concerned with out towards the LaPorte area for perhaps another tornado warning. I don't see it right now, but again, it's kind of squirrely looking. We've clearly got winds doing different things, going different directions at times and different speeds as well. This is a very fast wind moving away from the radar here, like that. And then you got these other winds kind of coming in that are a little bit weaker. So you can get little spin ups on that. So we'll keep our eye on that for sure. So northern Porter County right now, very strong wind. When we look at a radar like this, again, it shows the wind. It's just above the surface. I would imagine a lot of it is kind of tapping into the bottom of it. But we'll see. All right, we'll get back to your questions again. Tiffany asking about South Bend. So these storms are heading your way, Tiffany, towards South Bend. Do they hold together? I'll tell you, earlier tonight, I would have said no. I honestly would have said no, because we did not get the instability all the way up to South Bend. We didn't even get it into the region. We have temperatures in the 50s. Yeah, that's warm. But to produce severe weather, typically we need 60 or higher degree dew points. And our dew points aren't there yet. And yet this low pressure system is so strong as a whole, the big low pressure system, the entire storm system, that it's overcoming our low dew points. It's like, instability, I don't need you. I'm going to do my own thing. So that's kind of what we've got going on. Becky asks, what's the difference between a microburst and spin up tornadoes? Totally different things, Becky, but they can produce the same results. So does it really matter, right? So I think that's a great question. So a microburst is when you have, typically you have microbursts in a thunderstorm, usually in the summertime when you have dry air at the mid levels. So up like where the clouds are. And what happens is you get, a huge updraft, you get a huge cumulonimbus cloud, and the rain will fall into that dry air and it'll evaporate and it will cool. Evaporation is a cooling process, right? We evaporate in the summertime and it helps cool our skin. So that rain will fall into that dry air, it'll evaporate and it'll cool the air. And so all of a sudden you have a huge chunk of cold air up inside this massive thunderstorm cloud. And cold air is heavy and dense. It likes to sink, right? Cold air sinks, warm air rises. So that cold air is suddenly way up in the cloud and it comes crashing down. That's what a microburst is, where you get this gush of cold air that comes out of the middle of a thunderstorm from dry air. Whereas a spin up tornado, in this case with today, is, I said this earlier, it's like when you push your hand through bathtub water. That's kind of what this line is like that's moving in. It's a big push of air coming through bathtub water, and you tend to get those little eddies or those swirls of water on the sides of where your hands are. And that's the same thing with what we've got with these spin-up tornadoes. They tend to be weak, but what we have is a big push of air coming in. I can actually draw it on radar. Let me get back over here. So here's our big push of air coming in, something like this. And you get these little eddies that spin up on the side of it where the air is not flowing quite as fast. And that's what we saw down in the Beecher area, right in here. That's what we saw, was that little spin up tornado potential. And now what we're seeing is perhaps we just had enough of an updraft that it's tapping into jet stream. So this is no longer a spin up. This is a large area of wind courtesy of the jet stream. All right. So I hope that helps explain it a little bit. or maybe everyone's sleeping. I'm not sure. Sorry if I just put you to bed. Brittany, thank you for that. Cedar Lake is now in the clear. So you're okay with that. Lisa, thanks for saying that. That's nice. I appreciate you. Always have. Hope you're doing well, Lisa. Westville's still getting hit pretty hard with rain and wind. Let's see, a lot of updates here. Another line. Stephanie asked a great question. Is there another line after this tonight or early tomorrow morning we should be concerned about? And Jeff, thanks for that update. DeMont had a 72-mile-per-hour wind gust for sure. Please say you can relax now, Melanie. That's awesome. All right, so let's look at the radar beyond this. So the front's not through yet. That's a problem. I think it was Stephanie that asked that question. So the problem is this is taking a lot of energy out of the atmosphere, right? These storms are taking a lot of energy out. The problem is the cold front's still way back here. So because of that, we could pop a couple more storms tonight. The worst case scenario is that we develop, and let me see. Yeah, see, they're developing here. So this tells me I really don't see this filling in. I mean, this is taking too much out of the atmosphere here. But worst case scenario is this line right here where the frontal boundary is starts to fill in down to the south, and we could get some more gusty winds with thunderstorms. But I don't really see that happening. But again, these storms ramped up pretty quickly as well. So never say never. We have severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Just to kind of recap everybody, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Stark County, South Bend. You're getting into the action here. LaPorte County, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning. The Porter County cell is getting dwindled away in terms of the warning. I would imagine that'll be allowed to be canceled. Areas of Jasper County still under severe thunderstorm warning. You can see this line is racing east pretty quickly. We're losing the severe threat quickly as well. So that's some good news. So let's say who's severe weather clear. That way you can go to bed or do whatever you're going to do here on this Friday night. So Chesterton, you're in the clear right now. You just got rain. I think you're severe weather clear the rest of the evening. Valpo, give it another 5 minutes and you'll be in the clear. Couts, probably another 15 minutes, you'll be in the clear. Hebron, you're fine right now. If you're in Lake County, anywhere in Lake County right now, you're fine. Take a break. We're okay. Everything is off towards your east right now. You've just got some rain probably for another couple minutes. Areas of Newton County, you're clear right now. It's really LaPorte County and eastern areas of Porter County that I want to keep an eye on here before we say goodbye. I want to kind of walk you through this here. In terms of wind, still some real strong winds now over Michigan City. Chesterton, you probably just got the strong winds. The cell gets a little squirrely near LaPorte and Westville. This is the area that I would watch. I don't see anything tornadic as of right now. Again, it's an area that we need to watch. That's all. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Let's see. Go back to your comments. Carson, power went out Chesterton for 3 seconds. Okay, lights are flickering. Hopefully you still have it. The worst of the winds, Carson, are through you now. So that's some good news. The worst of the winds are now north and east of you. That's not good news for Michigan City. Strong winds moving in for you. LaPorte, the strongest winds are just north of downtown LaPorte. As you get up towards New Buffalo, that's where the strong winds appear to be right now. I do think you're going to get brush in LaPorte, though. So if you're in LaPorte right now, the strong winds are likely to move in probably another 5 minutes on that, just so you know that. All right. David, thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. Sharon, you as well. I appreciate that. For sure. Nate, LaPorte County's getting it now. I don't see anything tornadic. I do see strong winds, though. Everyone's getting a heavy rain. So when I say these other things, that's in addition to heavy rain. We've got small hail within these as well. Hail's not going to be your biggest worry. It's really going to be the wind on top of all that. And a lot of times we can look at the lightning within a storm to tell if that storm is strengthening or weakening. And we certainly have some decent lightning down towards Plymouth now. You can see we've had some lightning strikes near Couts, and then out. It's not really that impressive in Lake County, but if we start to see an uptick in lightning, that tells you that that storm's pretty energetic and it's doing something. Lisa, you're fine in Brook. Doug, you're fine in Wheatfield as well. Go ahead and take it easy tonight. Things are clearing on out for you guys. Yeah, we'll be good. Stephanie, you're absolutely welcome for sure. Yeah, it should be getting quieter in Chesterton. Strong winds just north and east of you. Erica, thank you for that update as well. I appreciate that. Yeah, you should be clearing out in Valpo. We've got maybe, yeah, I would say you're fine now. The storm looks, the worst of it seems east of you. Gabrina, I know it got a little scary for a while with all the sirens going off. If you joined us early in the broadcast, we're sitting here shooting the breeze, watching that little area rotation, and all of a sudden it's like everything just kind of ramped up. Chris, I mean it's funny now, I guess, in retrospect, but yeah, the Frosties and Santas. Some of you are going to end up with new inflatables in your yard. You really are, and if you don't know where they came from, I guess you just get to keep them for sure. So, Lori, I appreciate your kind words for sure. Penny, thank you as well. Hey, Martin, my buddy's on there. All clear. Yeah, you're welcome, Martin. For sure. Yeah, you're all clear, buddy. Go to bed. Marie, you're fine, and Gary. Sophia, I appreciate you as well. Oh no, Tiffany watched her neighbor's huge Santa go flying down the road on 700. Tiffany. Oh man, Tiffany, would you have guessed that? That December 10th that you'd be watching your Santa fly down the road with temperatures near 60? Jeez, that's just crazy. We filled Eric is clearing out probably another 5 minutes. I'd give you the all clear on that. So we'll go from there. Aaron asking about a touchdown at Crown Point. I would not be surprised. Aaron. I don't have, if I were in the studio, I would have my monitors with Twitter and everything. I do not have Twitter pulled up, and I don't have any reports pulled up. I'm here right now to do radar analysis to get us through this. The reporting side to me is news, and I am weather. So that's the way I always say it in the newsroom. But let me know if you guys hear about that. The Weather Service would have that. I don't have my monitors all up. But I would not be surprised if that tornado or that potential tornado that came out of Beecher perhaps touched down just to the west of Crown Point. It would have lifted after that. Let's see. Stephanie, you're welcome. Absolutely. Let's see. Brandon said power's still on. Good. Marie, you're fine, and Gary. I think I'm getting behind on the comments. Kimberly, you're welcome as well. I'll go through these a little bit later, but I appreciate that. Anne, you're welcome. Everyone's welcome. There's a lot. You guys are so nice. Seriously, you're all getting Christmas cards this year. I just need everyone's address. Actually, don't do that. I'd be pretty overwhelmed. Juniper is asking, what about Couts? So you are in the clear as well. So let's do one final radar analysis. I just want to hang with you. Once this is out of LaPorte County, typically, we cover up to LaPorte County. I just want to hang with you for a second because this is still kind of squirrely in LaPorte County. This pocket here, I don't like. It's just some strong winds. I don't like what's going on here. It's just kind of ugly looking. It's just something we need to watch. So I want to hang with you for another minute or so. But the heavy rain is moving on out of Porter County. You're in the clear now. We're likely in the clear for Newton County. The heavy rain really ramps up in LaPorte County still, especially Rolling Prairie, getting some very heavy rain right now. And that extends down to the south, Kingsford Heights, down in areas of Stark County, seeing some very heavy rain. We likely have strong winds with that as well. That's all going to push off towards the east pretty quickly. Remember, these are moving at highway speed. So we're talking, 65, 70 mile per hour movement to these. So it's not going to take long till they're out of here. And then over towards Walkerton, likely some heavier rain here shortly. Porter County, if you're anywhere in Porter County, I'm going to go ahead and clear you out. You're fine now. You've got some heavier rain, a little bit of lightning. The wind will start to back off. You're fine. So Porter County's clear. Lake County's clear. Newton County's clear. Jasper County is so close to being clear. It's just this little batch. We can clear you out. Jasper County, you're fine. It's really LaPorte County and Stark County right now. Heavy rain moving through. And let's check the wind one more time. Yeah, there's still some top wind gusts coming in here. The other thing to keep in mind, we tend to see brighter colors the further away this gets from the radar. The radar site is way back in Chicago, right? It's in Romeoville. So the further away you get with the Earth's curvature, that radar beam's getting higher and higher in the sky, right? So as we get higher and higher in the sky, it's starting to get into that jet stream wind, right? The wind up above in the clouds. And so it tends to be a little bit higher up there. So we tend to get higher readings in terms of wind gusts. So the wind may not be as strong here. So what I'm going to do is switch over towards the South Bend radar or Northern Indiana radar, and we'll take a look here. And this tells a better story. This shows still some strong winds moving in. You notice how the colors changed on you. That's okay. We're still looking for the same idea, the greens and reds. And I don't see it. I just see some pockets of strong wind heading into LaPorte County, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour. I want to take a movement look on this here. Yeah, there's some pockets of strong wind, but boy, it does not look like anything like we had in Porter County, and that's some great news. So I think we can clear it out for this evening, guys. I think we can say goodbye here, I hope. We've got a warm night ahead of us. It's going to be warm the next couple hours. That temp doesn't start crashing till morning. Keep in mind the winds are really going to pick up again as this low curls on around. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, we'll likely have gusts 40 to 50 at times, and that will be outside of thunderstorms. That's just the system moving in, okay? So that's kind of what we're dealing with. Yeah, so this is pretty much it, guys. I can clear us out. We've still got some issues in eastern LaPorte County. I don't think it's anything you need me for, though. That's some heavy rain. There's some lightning. Everything's east of LaPorte. The worst of it is. So this will be heading over towards South Bend. This storm down towards North Judson's producing some heavier rain. That'll head up into Knox. La Crosse still getting heavy rain, but it's just strong winds and heavy rain. I don't see a tornado threat out of these as of right now. And you can see we've even lost that severe thunderstorm warning. That's great news. So that's perfect timing. All right. So we're still good there. Again, down to the south, Newton and Jasper counties. Newton County are clear. Jasper County, heading over into Pulaski County. We've still got some stronger winds with those storms. No tornado threat locally, but you see the big picture here. This line is out of here. We're getting it through. Cold front still back to the west, but this is heading east very quickly. So once that's out, we're done. And I think we can call this quits, okay? Did anyone stay with me for the full 1 hour and 46 minutes? Because if you did, we'll give you a top fan badge. How about that? How's that sound? All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you being with us. I appreciate you trusting Region Weather. Again, we're here for Northwest Indiana, and that's it. And that's certainly, I feel like, what we did today, right? This evening. We got us through this line of storms. I guarantee there's wind damage from this. We'll see about a potential tornado touchdown. We'll relay the information from the Weather Service. And overall, I'll tell you, this is a pretty rough go of storms, but compared to other parts of the country that are getting nailed tonight, this is nothing compared to areas of Tennessee, et cetera. Okay. So thanks for joining us. Aaron says Aaron, you've been here the whole time. Yes, that's awesome. For sure. But we definitely appreciate your support. Again, if you can like us on Facebook, spread the news. My goal is that everyone in Northwest Indiana is covered with severe weather when they need it. That's it. I don't get paid to do this. All right. I don't have commercials or anything like that. So keep that in mind, that there's no ulterior motive to getting likes. I really want people to get the coverage that they need. And also we have regionweather.com. So you can support us there, right? Every time you give a web view, I think we get like one fraction of a cent. So I certainly appreciate that. But moreover, anything else, guys, I'm glad you're safe. I hope everyone made it out of this safe. I hope everyone has power, and have a wonderful Friday night. We've got a much colder day tomorrow, very windy, especially the early morning hours. You're going to wake up to some wind, and then we talk colder behind that. But this week doesn't look that cold after this moves by. So it looks like a pretty mild week around here. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.